Now when the saints go marching in, now when the saints go marching in, yes, I want to be in that number. When the saints
That's Louis Armstrong. And Jeff Reed giving me some audio surprises during the program today, doing a great job there. Now, I want to play some Pat Condell clips. I'll explain who he is in just a minute. A couple of quick things. Again, more bad news in the economy. Unemployment rates have gone up in 26 states. Barack Obama's out there trying to tell us that we've got this recovery going on. We've been in recovery since 2009. Well, how come unemployment rates are going up in over half the country last month if we're experiencing this booming recovery? And there were stories out yesterday how the economy has bottomed out. It's finally reached the bottom. It's finally bottomed. What does it tell you? It tell you we've been sliding downhill all this time. There's no recovery. I mean, even the media doesn't even realize what they're saying. If we're bottoming out, that means we've been on a decline up until this point, right along. So they are trying to fool us and fool themselves. And one last item from the economy, looking at a chart here, net change in jobs since Barack Obama took office compared with the net change in food stamp participation. Check this out. The net change in jobs since Barack Obama became president of the United States, minus 1.3 million. There are 1.3 million fewer jobs right now today than there were when Barack Obama took office. 1.3 million fewer, minus, negative, in the tank, in the hole, below sea level. 1.3 million jobs gone, out of here, in the archives. At the same time, since he became president, 15.1 million people have been added to the food stamp rolls and 5.7 million to the disability rules. So we've lost 1.3 million jobs net. We have 15.1 million more people on food stamps than when he took office. And you may have heard some conversation about a papyrus fragment that indicates that Jesus was married. Don't worry about this. It's very likely a forgery. There's nothing to it. The provenance is probably at the 4th century at the very oldest, which means it doesn't go back earlier than that. And just because somebody said in the 4th century that Jesus was married is meaningless. Anybody can say anything about anybody. But you look at the New Testament records, there's no indication that Jesus was married. You have the testimony of a number of early church fathers, people like Clement of Alexandria, Tertullian, who said quite clearly that Jesus was not married, and they go back to the 2nd century AD. So don't worry about that, nothing to it. An ancient papyrus fragment, maybe even a clever forgery. Now, I want to play some Pat Condell clips for you, 7 through 9. I got 3 of these, boom, 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 back to back to back, and we'll finish with phone calls. Pat Condell lives in the UK, not a Christian, but this is a guy that's dialed in on Islam. He knows what Islam is about. Some of the most acerbic commentary about the true nature of Islam comes from this guy named Pat Condell. I got 3 clips. I'm going to play these pretty much back to back to back. But he tells it like it is, his response to this rioting that's being done by the Muslims. Let's listen.
Well, once again, we see multiple violent tantrums from the religion of permanent offence. Some things never change, do they? Once again, we see Islam self-detonate, if you'll pardon the expression, and show, once again, why it's about as welcome on this planet as an asteroid. Once again, we see thousands of Islamic nutcases take time out from beating up their wives to show their sensitive side. How? By smashing up the towns they live in, egged on by clerical ignoramuses whose motives are even lower than the literacy level of their followers. And once again, we in the civilized world are being urged to censor ourselves out of respect for a religion that violates the human rights of half the people on the planet and that doubles as a political ideology indistinguishable from Nazism. It would be funny if it wasn't so obscene.
Here is clip 2. Pat Condell isn't done. Let's listen.
Let me get this straight. We're supposed to show tolerance and respect for a religion that doesn't know the meaning of either word and goes out of its way to prove it every day. We're supposed to amend our values to accommodate a religion that accommodates nothing and nobody. Dream on, people. It's not going to happen. Because with Islam, it's always a one-way street. We've learned that lesson the hard way. We can't afford any more tolerance and respect. We've been sucked dry. And we become weary of manufactured Islamic grievance.
In the final Pat Condell clip, this is talking about this whole business about feelings. We even spent $70,000, Barack Obama did, to run an apology ad on Pakistani TV, if you can believe it. Our government running an apology ad for this movie that some private filmmaker made, exercising his constitutional rights, and in the process telling the truth about Islam. But the whole issue of these feelings come up, and Pat Condell has a word to say about how much it matters to us that the feelings of Muslim followers have been hurt. Let's listen.
Our feelings are more important, and our feelings tell us that we're sick to the back teeth of hearing about your religion, so stick a sock in it. And no amount of violence is going to change a thing. The more you riot and scream and shout, the less we're going to listen. It'll simply stiffen our resolve not to be bullied and pushed around by people whose values we don't respect, because you've given us no reason to respect them, and more to the point, because you are incapable of giving us such a reason. In short, we will not be told what we can and cannot say. Not by you, not by anybody, not now, not ever. No matter how many flags you burn, no matter how many embassies you attack, free speech will prevail, and you'll suck it up and like it.
That's Pat Condell telling it like it is on Islam. Let's finish with some phone calls. Let's go to Monty in Culpeper, Virginia. Monty, you're on Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Brian, it's always a pleasure to talk with you and I hope you absolutely, with the power of the Lord, get well very soon and feel better.
Thank you.
You're welcome. When you brought up Rick Perry and this thing about the media and so forth and the election as it is, I am astounded. I'm 64 and my age doesn't matter that much as it does, that I've had enough opportunity to know the media and the chaos with technology, and I know you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. In the last, say, 10 to 20 years, we have been inundated with the technological capacity of seeing things as it happens on TV. And I was just thinking, Brian, that all the presidents we have had, I doubt that the general public that even votes could name 2 or 3 presidents other than, Washington and John Adams and some of the early ones that were practicing, founding forefather Christian or evangelical religion. I doubt, Brian, anybody tell you what religion most of the presidents were or weren't, because they didn't much about it. Not Mitt Romney, because he chooses a religion that he was basically brought up in. The man has every right to have a chance at the presidency. Barack Obama, as you know, has no idea how to express Christian ethics. Say he was a Christian or is a Christian, but he leans towards the Muslims. And, chaos in this world right now is because the media, with some people have about 500 stations, and they are so confused, they flipping, flopping back and forth, they don't even experience the Christian message anymore. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Brian.
I think we just lost our connection there with Monty. Thanks for the call, Monty. I appreciate that. Good stuff. Wish we could have gotten the complete call. Dropped out there, I think. Let's go to Patsy in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Patsy, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Hi,
welcome to Focal Point. Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to say this flag that they showed that the Obama administration has designed, I firmly believe, I have believed from day one, that flag, if Obama gets reelected, we will not be the United States of America. We will be the United Kingdom of Obama. And I think that has been his thing from day one, to destroy America as we know it and become the king of his own kingdom. And I believe he's a Muslim. I spent an hour on the phone with a friend this morning who's married to a guy from Beirut. They have lots of Muslim friends. And all the Muslims they know say that Obama is one of ours. He is a brother. He is a Muslim. So thank you and God bless.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate the call and it's very clear that President Obama's sympathies are far more with the Muslim faith than with the Christian faith. We have the foreign minister of Egypt saying that Obama told him in a private conversation, I am a Muslim. Now, it's just his word. Don't have any verification for it, but he said that Barack Obama told him directly that Barack Obama, was a Muslim. Let's go to Josh. Last call of the day, Houston, Texas. Josh, you're on Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian. I'm not angered. I'm just a little frustrated with on some people on the whole Muslim issue.
Yes, sir.
I have read the Quran.
Uh-huh.
That's not saying I'm converting, but there's a difference between the faith and the book. I mean, there's 1.6 billion Muslims in the whole world, second largest religion, with Christianity being number one. And just because a couple thousand or maybe 10,000 or so in the Middle East are a little mad over, a film or whether it's a terroristic strike or both, doesn't mean that that's the whole faith is like that. That's essentially the bad apple ruins the bunch kind of logic. I mean, if that was the case, then I might as well say Christianity is full of nothing but murderers based on the Crusades whenever Christians killed millions.
Well, Josh, let me ask you, we're out of time here, so I have to cut this short. But, Josh, are you aware of the verses in the Quran that command Muslims to kill infidels? Are you aware of those verses?
It doesn't say that.
Yeah, it does. Slay the idolaters wherever you find them. Ambush them, besiege them, lie in wait for them everywhere. That's Surah 9:5. Look it up. If I'm wrong, give me a call back and correct me. Well, that's it for today, Focal Point AF. Our talk, as I've said before, when a Muslim commits an act of violence, he's being a good Muslim. When a Christian does it, he's being a bad Christian. That's a huge difference. Now may our Lord Jesus Christ himself and God our Father, who loved us and gave us eternal comfort and good hope through grace, comfort your hearts and establish them in every good work and word. Have a great weekend. Bow low before God, stand tall before man, stand in the gap. Never forget, ladies and gentlemen, we are, with God's help, fighting a winnable war. See you on Monday.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect those of American Family Association or American Family Radio.